Hey, I believe we're live. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. Today, a very special guest, Robert, the supplement engineer. Robert, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Steve. It's a beautiful day here in sunny Texas. It's established as Freedom Day since the governor ended the stay-at-home order. He let it expire. I'm sitting outside. It's a wonderful day. Thank you for having me on the channel. And every time you and I talk, it's always a pleasure. So my day is all things considered going really well.
Good. We're testing out a new platform. This is called StreamYard. And if anybody has a question, please post it up. Robert is a guru, and I don't use that term very often, but in this case, it is apropos. It is appropriate, 100%. If you have any supplement questions at all, or you're curious about bullshit ingredients, or you are just generally want to know anything about anything, now is the time to body slam Robert, since we have him live in the hot seat. I just want to let everybody know if I miss your comment, we are not ignoring it. YouTube can be rather glitchy. And if I miss your comment, post it up again. We will go through every comment, even if we have to sit here all day long, or maybe Robert might have to leave. But you can also message me your comment on Instagram at Ben the Barman, at Ben the Barman. And I just woke up. I had a late night, cut myself pretty bad, 9 stitches, went in the ER. Don't have COVID-19, which is good. So I'm catching up to speed with my monster. So Robert, tell everybody before we get started a little bit about yourself, your background, and why you are the supplement engineer.
Oh man, do we have time for me to go through that entire that story? That's a long one. I have my degrees in mechanical engineering. I did oil and gas consulting, designing onshore, offshore, refinery piping, hydraulic calculations, did all that stuff for, let's see, 7 years, 8 years, including internships while I was in college. Got really burnt out of that, got into fitness around 2010 following the death of my grandpa. I had always been active. I did martial arts and got a black belt in Taekwondo and did sports growing up. But it wasn't until 2010 that after he passed away that that the lifting bug really bit me. And then from there, I started researching and looking up anything and everything I could in terms of diet, training, supplementation, how those three kind of complement each other and, supplement each other, for a really bad pun there, to make everything better, where your performance is better, your recovery is better, your lifestyle is better. And, as we're seeing today, your health and fitness are paying dividends forward to helping you stave off disease and illness, infection, all that good stuff.
Right.
So then about late 2014, early 2015, I was, I was on my third different engineering firm, because the engineering, if obviously, as everybody can see these days, oil is in the shitter as far as price. And so the oil industry is very cyclical. Every 4 to 5 years, prices will spike and then it goes back down. And so consulting firms, they hire up for big projects and then they let everybody go as soon as the oil prices bottom out. And so you're constantly trying to stay ahead of the curve so you don't get hit with a layoff. So when I would see the oil prices starting to get low and a couple of other people would start to get laid off at the firm I was at, I'd jump to another engineering firm and then go to another one. And then, you start making longer commutes. You're making better money, but you're making longer commutes, spending more time away from your family. And it gets stressful. It's not enjoyable. At the same time, I had this passion, that there was so much misinformation and bullshit out there from quote unquote gurus, that's kind of why I cringed when you called me a guru at the beginning of this, is that
Yeah, it's always tongue in cheek when I call anybody a guru.
yeah. But that was one of the main reasons I got into this whole space, is that just to help the average person who doesn't either have the time, the interest, or, the mental brain power that they want to invest in trying to sort through all the truth from the bullshit, and helping them distill really complex topics into something that, your average soccer mom or dad could understand if they just walked into a GNC and said, hey, what is this thing? What does it do? Is it going to help me? And, is it safe? And so I started moonlighting for a couple of websites. I did some ghostwriting, and then March of 2015, was making, 85,000 a year in engineering. So super stable job. My wife was a teacher and she could see I was miserable. And she said, hey, if you don't want to do this anymore, make X amount of dollars. Because she had just taken a position with the University of Michigan in their athletics department. And she said, hey, if you can make above this to where we're not eating in our savings, you can leave engineering. And so July of 2015, we moved up to Michigan, quit engineering in March of 2015. And it's been a roller coaster ride ever since, or I guess a rocket, because it's gone up and continued to go up. And you and I actually crossed paths, I want to say a year after I got into writing. So maybe September of 2016. And then it's been an incredible friendship. I consider you one of my closest friends in life. And you're very generous with your mentoring and just an awesome dude. So that's my life in a nutshell, or adulthood.
Appreciate it, Robert. Robert's been one of the only people that have actually been here where I'm sitting right now. Robert's one of the few people that's actually worked out my home gym. Now, I just want to remind everybody, this is just going to be like a normal live. If you have any questions on training, me and Robert can talk for days on muscle building. Yep. So just feel free to slide your normal training questions in, diet, training, nutrition, supplementation, whatever it is, just post your questions. We want to hear your questions. No questions too stupid. We will try to answer every question. So get rolling. Robert, I usually get a lot of questions, and Robert's new to the actual inside of the live. So I just encourage you, Robert, with these questions, try to keep them, under a minute or two for each answer so we can make it through everything, if that's okay.
Will do.
Robert, you got a first question from Stefano. Can you see it on your screen?
I can. BCAAs, good, bad, or indifferent, and when best to take them. BCAAs in and of themselves are important. Without them, your body would not be able to build muscle, start muscle protein synthesis, anything. BCAAs are naturally occurring in every whole food protein source. So if you're drinking milk, you're eating yogurt, you're eating chicken, beef, pork, steak, eggs, all that good stuff, you're getting BCAAs. The decision on whether or not you need BCAAs is basically, are you eating enough protein during the day? If you are, then you really don't need BCAAs, and there's not going to be any kind of tangible benefit from using them. You could also spin at that. I drink BCAAs in my workout. I don't think they're giving me any special benefit, but I like to have some kind of flavored water when I'm working out. I don't want to just drink plain water. Plus, BCAAs typically contain electrolytes in them, which also helps with hydration, stamina, cognitive function, and all of that stuff while you're training. So they can be beneficial from that standpoint. If you're consuming enough protein though each day, and having protein within 3 hours before your workout, or within an hour after your workout, you really don't need them. It's kind of like icing on the cake. It's there, it'll help you, but they're not absolutely necessary so long as you're meeting your other protein requirements.
And Robert, again, folks, post up your questions and also let us know where you're from. We'd like to hear where you're from. Robert, what about the whole, let's backtrack since we don't have any questions right now to follow that up. With the EAAs versus BCAAs, there's a lot of questions right now that come my way regarding EAAs and BCAAs. What do you have to say to the average lifter who's confused about the whole spiel and which is which and what is what?
Well, if we're going to look at everything, your body needs all 9 essential amino acids to build muscle, to synthesize proteins. It's going to need all 9 of those. The BCAAs are the core 3, and leucine's really the trigger amino acid that's going to catalyze at the mTOR pathway in the body and get muscle protein synthesis rolling. By and large, if you look at most EAA supplements, the vast majority, if it's a 6-8 gram scoop, 5 grams of those 6 to 8 grams are going to be the branch chain amino acids. So you're going to get the leucine, isoleucine, and valine in there. But by and large, EAA supplements and BCAA supplements, at least the ones I'm encountering, they're about the same price. So if I'm going to spend $30 on a product, or $35 or something, why not get all 9 essential amino acids for the same cost as the 3 branch chain amino acids? You're going to getting better value for your dollars that are spent. So if I have the choice, I would probably default to an EAA supplement, just because they're going to cost the same. They've gotten the flavor technology now to where EAAs are going to taste just as good as BCAAs. Previously, EAAs were a bitch to flavor because of methionine and one of the other EAAs that are in there. But it's, the science is trending that way. EAAs usually are always better than BCAAs on a per, I'm not sure the exact number to describe it, but on a 1-to-1 ratio of their ability to stimulate protein synthesis in the bodies, EAAs will always outpace BCAAs.
All right, Robert. Well, that just changed everybody's life dramatically just to hear that. Probably so, anybody watching this. Robert, we have a question from David Potter. And you guys keep your questions coming. Training, supplements, whatever. We'll answer anything off topic. You name it. Favorite beers? It's Friday. Pizza toppings. We don't care. Just
Bourbon. Yes.
bourbon. Scotch. Is the 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight rule accurate? I've heard some say that it's more than you actually need. I'm going to preface this, Robert, with my typical response. I don't like to base anything on body weight because we have a lot of lifters that weigh 125, 135, and they haven't reached their full post-pubescent capacity yet.
Right.
We also have a lot, and obviously with the obesity epidemic, we have a lot of larger individuals that sometimes don't have the best hormonal profile, that sometimes have very slow metabolisms. I have clients that bigger clients that struggle to lose weight at 1,800 calories a day. So if you're trying to get them to eat 350 grams of protein a day, it's ridiculous. So I'll start the discussion with that. Robert, what is your opinion on, or what is your answer to this question?
I wouldn't say it's the 1 gram per pound. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a rule. It's a recommendation. And it's kind of a general, very broad stroked recommendation to where you're not going to do any harm by doing 1 gram per pound. You're not going to be undercutting yourself. At the same time, really the recommendations are anywhere between 0.8 grams to 1.2 grams per pound, but that's usually of lean body mass.
Right.
And it also, you have to consider what else is going on in the diet. Are they at maintenance calories? Are they in a deficit? Because if you're in a deficit, the research is showing that you actually want to go above the 1 gram per pound recommendation to 1.1, 1.2, just to stave off any of that catabolism. Also consider how many carbohydrates are you eating in your diet, because carbohydrates raise insulin. Insulin is an anti-catabolic hormone, so it resists muscle breakdown. It helps counteract the activities of all the catabolic processes in the body. So we need to kind of understand a little bit greater context. But, if you are very underweight or very overweight, I would base the 1 gram per pound based off your lean body mass, not necessarily. But if you're somebody of, regular body composition, 10% to, 18 to 20% body fat, the 1 gram per pound is going to be more than enough for you, I would think.
I would just add a little icing on the cake. If you're underweight right now, the 1 gram per pound of lean body mass, I would encourage you to have it where you want to be next year. Like if you want to add 15 more pounds of muscle, just maybe eat a little bit more protein, 10, 15, 20 more grams per day. Let's see what we got next. You guys keep the questions coming. We will stay on as long as you got questions. Training, nutrition, diet, supplementation. Robert is, if there is such a thing as a guru in the supplement industry, it is this man right here. But we also can talk forever on muscle building. So if you have some really detailed muscle building questions, toss them in the ring. We got Paul saying greetings from Vancouver. How's it going, Paul? Hope things are good with you. And next up, we got Michael. Favorite carb to eat before and after workout. I'm going to give you mine, and Robert, you can share your opinion. When I was gaining my most amount of muscle mass and pretty much at my strongest before age 30, post-workout, I would eat a Little Debbie, or not a Little Debbie, one of those apple pies, those packaged apple pie disgusting things, or cherry pies, and then I would drink 32 ounces of chocolate milk. That was my personal favorite. And nice. I'll tell you, it worked. It was very anabolic. Robert?
I've gone through a shift recently. So when I first got into the thing, I bought the whole, you must have fast-acting carbs immediately after your workout. I bought that whole supplement spiel, hook, line, and sinker, and that's, I've come to realize the error of my ways since then. So immediately I would have a scoop of something like maltodextrin or pixie sticks or something. Like I'd have a giant thing of like Skittles or something. I would slam a protein shake right after that. In recent years, it's if I'm like Sandy and I have a leg workout today, and the restaurants are just starting to open around here, so we'll probably go to one of our favorite pizza places today and go crush a pizza after we get finished with our leg workout. So I can always I tend to crave more savory things than sweet things after our workout, but by and large, I'm not hungry immediately after I finish training. It takes me a good hour and a half to actually feel hungry. But at that point, it'll be pizza or a burger and maybe some kind of potato or fries with it or something like that. If we're going like full guilty pleasure here, it's a burger and fries or some pizza.
Well, I was good friends with Rich Knapp, who was the first pro wheelchair bodybuilder, pro natural. And Rich would always have the pixie sticks after his, I believe pixie sticks after his workout.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're magic, but like anybody that I preach a lot, consistency in nutrition.
Yeah.
I'm not big on consistency because it's going to make or break you. I'm more big on consistency because getting in the same calories, getting in a routine is beneficial for anybody that wants serious results. So I would have some sort of post-workout ritual. I don't like to eat immediately after a workout. I might just like to have a little bit of bite to eat and then eat like an hour and a half later. So,
yeah.
All right, let's move on. See, we got guys, keep the questions coming. We got Riley. I have some shoulder pain during overhead press. How should I tackle this situation? Riley, with medical questions, it's really honestly saying I have shoulder pain is like saying I'm going to climb a mountain. How should I tackle the mountain? We don't know what mountain. We don't know the weather. We don't know any information. I'm not being dismissive of the topic, but first thing is to see a doctor if it is severe. If it is not severe, back off, lower the weight for a couple weeks, come back into the ring, test it out with lighter weight. And if it still hurts, you got to go see a doctor. And beyond that, I would have somebody also look at a video of your form. Robert, do you have anything to add?
I would also see what kind of variations he's playing with. Is he doing a strict military press? So there's a couple of other different shoulder press or vertical pressing patterns he could mess with. He could start using dumbbells or kettlebells instead of getting his arms straight out to the side like that. Get him more into that scapular plane of pushing where you're getting the elbows up a little bit more. So try kettlebells, dumbbells with that. You could do a unilateral barbell press if you're strong enough to do that, or landmine presses where you're coming up here and you're pushing up at a 45-degree angle. That could be good. Just something that, try around different exercise variations too, once you've gotten the okay from the medical professionals, and then making sure there's no destruction there. And make sure you're also doing enough rear delt work too, because if you're anterior dominated, that's going to lead to shoulder impingement, a whole bunch of cramping up here and tightening up of all those little tissues that are in there in the shoulder joint.
And nearly every experienced lifter is anterior dominant, and I preach stop doing front delt work or I'm going to punch your mom. Seriously, Robert, I tell everybody stop doing front delt work. Can you? Shoulder impingements are a huge issue. I receive a lot of questions from them. And Robert, can you just briefly tell folks when you say anterior dominant and shoulder impingements, what does that mean to them as far as their training?
Yeah, anterior dominant means you're the quintessential bench monkey bro, where you've done all kinds of horizontal pressing, so flat bench, incline bench, overhead press, front raises, everything in the front of your body going forward. You're pushing everything forward. You're pushing everything overhead in front of you. You're not doing enough rear delt work, so you're not doing enough face pulls. To quote, Jeff from Athlean X, you're not doing enough high rear delt rows, inverted rows, barbell rows, pulling patterns, even pull-ups. Do more of that work and maintain like a 1-1 ratio or 1-to-2 ratio of every one push for every 1 or 2 pulling movements, just to kind of keep that balance, especially if the imbalance is that severe to where you've done so much pressing. Then dial back the pressing a ton and start including a lot more pulling in your workouts.
All right, let's move on. Thank you, Robert. We have Nigel from Kingston, Ontario, Canada. Hope things are good with you, Nigel. You're right, almost directly above me. All right, here we go. The big question has entered the ring from Sebastian. Are 20-inch arms possible naturally lean? No, unless you are 6'8", you're 18% body fat, you have big bones. No. And how many years of training will it take? Infinite. And now I'm not being facetious. They don't exist.
Yeah.
I will preface it. I will add to that. I've had my picture taken with just about every major lifter in the universe. There's very few lifters that have arms that are my size in photos. Guys like the Hodge twins are an exception. And my arms are 17.5. Believe it or not, on the internet, apparently they're 20 inches. But no, 20-inch arms are not possible naturally lean. Robert, do you have anything to add?
Not to that. No, my arm's not anywhere near 20 inches, so I have no. And that's probably my least favorite muscle group to train is any kind of curls and kickbacks. I tend to enjoy back work, leg work a lot more than doing any kind of arm work. So that is a muscle group. That and calves, I always neglect those just because I'm not a bodybuilder. So
Occasionally you'll have somebody that, and I say claims natural because we don't know if they're natural.
right.
So be fair to that. But somebody that'll claim natural, 20-inch arms. Usually it's the guy that has these freaking softball genetic bicep peaks.
Yeah.
Like when you look at my triceps, they're extremely full. I have really genetically good triceps. But if you take a guy like that has just oddly genetic, superhuman bicep peaks, he might be in the 18.5, 19% range just because of the shape.
Yeah, or gymnasts too. I mean, my brother did competitive gymnastics for basically his entire, childhood and into his teenage years before he went off to college. And his arms have always been massive. I've got decent triceps, but I mean, his arm is just, I mean, I know it's not 20 inches, but he has always had rock solid arms. So yeah, gymnasts might be in the running for that.
We have a lot of Canadians on board today. Michael Bond is from Barrie, Ontario. A lot of Ontario.
I'm sipping on a Canadian-made pre-workout right now.
And I'm sipping on my favorites right here, Monster Greens. All right, let's keep it rolling, guys. Keep your questions coming. We're about 20 minutes in. We are aiming to stay on for about an hour. This is a good one. For those late to the party, Robert is the supplement engineer. He's about as close to a guru in supplements as you can get. So if you really want the God's honest truth, or Crom's honest truth, or Thanos's honest truth about anything, post it up. Robert, are test boosters useful?
In their ability to boost testosterone levels to super physiological levels like you would with special sports supplements, anabolics, not even close. No, they're not useful for that. Could they be useful for helping lower cortisol and improve libido and mood? Yeah, but as in terms of actually boosting testosterone to any meaningful degree, no. It's the way they're positioning most test boosters these days is as like an aphrodisiac / cortisol regulating, lowering supplement, because cortisol and testosterone have this inverse relationship. When one's super through the roof, the other is, at a bottom. So if you can stop being so stressed out and so wigged out all the time, you can get your testosterone up a little bit more, and then you might, feel a little bit more in the mood, be a little bit more energetic in that way. But to boost it to like an anabolics level, not even close. No.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I see, most of the questions I get from guys, there's like two camps. There's the young lifter who really wants to pack on muscle mass. And generally, this guy's eating good. He's leanish, doing everything right, and has a good hormonal profile. And they're probably not beneficial to you. But it's like a road. It's going to have bumps. You might smooth out the bumps a little bit. So it's worth a try. And then the overweight guy whose testosterone is low, and you really got to get your stress levels down. You really got to get off the sugar addiction. You really got to start eating right 95% of the time. You really got to lose weight. You got to get your body moving, etc. All right, let's see what we have. Slim56 says great info on BCAAs.
Thanks, Slim.
Thanks, Slim. And Thaddeus is my client, and he says, other than whey and creatine, is there a supplement that has universal value for lifters? Other than whey and creatine, I don't know about for lifters. For the general population, I always tell people B12, D3. I think you mentioned vitamin K. Is that correct?
Yeah, vitamin K is good for heart health. It pairs well with vitamin D. I would do fish oil. It's got some anti-inflammatory properties to it, especially for lifters that get a lot of wear and tear on their bodies, their joints and everything. Plus, it's got a bunch of good cognitive benefits too. So I would say that. Give us a little insight into Thaddeus's kind of training if he's one of your clients. Is it powerlifting? Is it bodybuilding, endurance? CrossFitish kind of stuff? Because we can kind of tailor it.
He's lost a lot of weight. Right now, he is a typical father. I believe 4 children. Stressful job. He lifts. He's just kind of a lifter. He's just looking for improved body composition.
Okay.
I'm trying to get him leaned out so he can see those sexy 6-pack abs because he's very, very close right now.
Yeah.
So he's losing weight, trying to make the most of his workouts. He lifts 4 to 5 times a week with a lot of compounds.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say fish oil in there, but keep the high dose fish oil away from your workout. So if you're working out at around noon, take it either with breakfast or dinner. Don't take it right in there because you take anti-inflammatory compounds and antioxidant compounds too close around that training window. It can actually blunt some of the beneficial hypertrophic adaptations and strength adaptations that can be induced by resistance training. Betaine is another really good one. 2.5 grams per day of betaine. It's been shown to be synergistic with creatine to help improve the body's production of creatine. And it's also improves body composition. There's a new meta-analysis that came out that shows it might actually help reduce fat mass as well and improve athleticism, strength, and power output too. So I like that one. It's an osmolyte, so it functions in a manner similar to creatine, but in a little bit different way because it also methylates a few other amino acids in the body.
I just want to let everybody know before we continue, Robert has a website, supplementengineer.com. Robert has a great podcast, Supplement Engineer. Search that. Robert's name is Robert Shanetsky. So you can search Robert Shanetsky or the Supplement Engineer. You can find YouTube videos, supplement reviews, a great podcast. Follow him on Instagram. I actually have a service on my website at superlivingtoday.com where Robert will do a supplement assessment service for you. So if you want to get the most bang for your buck and the real truth, no bullshit, that is a great service. So you can check that out at superlivingtoday.com. All right. Slim 56. How useful are joint supplements? I want to just jump in right away and say Robert recommended a joint supplement for my wife. And we took it. I think we bought every one that was in stock. My wife is a huge, huge fan of this product. She can notice a difference, and she's running 10 hours a week. So I'm just going to say whatever Robert recommends as far as joint supplements, you need to pay attention.
Yeah, it all depends. Joint supplements, like all supplements, they can be useful depending on the ingredients used, the quality of those ingredients, and the dosages. The one that I recommended, Steve and Fiona, and I make no money off of this. I don't have an affiliation with this company. I've never written any content for this company or consulted for them. It's just I know this is a super high quality product. I've used it myself. I really like it. And Steve and Fiona have used it. Check out Joint Support XT by Serious Nutrition Solutions, SNS. There's a couple, it's available on Amazon, A1 Supplements. Most of the major internet retailers should carry it, I believe. At least they'll have it listed. It may not be in stock, but they'll have it. DPS Nutrition's another place to check. Check that or through their website, SNS or SeriousNutritionSolutions.com. That is my go-to joint supplement. It's awesome. It's very affordable, high quality ingredients. The guys there don't bullshit and spike it with all kinds of weird compounds either. Go for that. If you're somebody that is dealing with a lot of joint pain or stiffness, achiness like that, give that a shot. And then also try, some high dose fish oil too. Like to go back to our previous point, take, 3 to 4 grams of fish oil a day. That'll have some good anti-inflammatory properties.
All right. Thank you, Robert. Let's see. What do we got next? Paul's question, creatine, is it actually useful? Is it beneficial while trying to lean out? Robert, what are your thoughts?
If there were ever a supplement to consider aside from caffeine, it would be creatine. If there was no other supplement I would ever use after a thing aside from caffeine, it would be creatine. The most studied, the most well-researched compound in the history of sports nutrition. Works for damn near everything, including physical performance, including recovery, muscle growth, cognitive function, hydration, everything you could think of that you would want to benefit from a compound. Creatine does it. It's really safe. It's super cheap. There's no downsides to it. Even if you're trying to lean out, yeah, I would say use it because it's not making you store fat. If anything, it's going to help you train harder because it's going to improve ATP levels in the body. So it'll help you bang out more reps, which is also going to complete more volume and it'll ultimately burn more calories during your workout, also while helping you recover. Plus, it helps make your muscles look fuller since it's an osmolyte and helps your muscles hold on to more water. So yeah, I would say it's useful. I always question when people say creatine didn't work for me. And I never understand, what were you expecting it? It's not going to put 5 to 10 pounds on you overnight. It's going to help you get more repetitions, give you an extra 10 to 12%. So if you're doing, 100 pounds, you're benching 100-pound dumbbells for 10 reps, it'll give you an 11th or a 12th rep on there. It's not, and you stack those extra reps over weeks, months, and years of training. And that's where the big gains from creatine will be.
Well, I always answer that question. I mean, whenever I get somebody that tells me they're plateaued or they're stalled or something's not working, as a trainer or as a coach or as somebody that's trying to just help people, the first question you need to ask is, did you take creatine every single day for 3 months?
Yeah.
And the answer invariably 99.9% of the time is no. So if you believe you do not respond to creatine or it has no benefit for you, the first step, in my opinion, is to gird up your big, juicy testicles and take it every day for 3 months and then come back and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
I
would agree with that. Consistency is key with creatine.
Keep the questions coming, guys. We want to keep Robert on as long as possible so he gets in trouble with his wife. And Friday has nothing better to do.
No, she's teaching till noon, so I've got another 90 minutes at least.
All right, Michael Bond, when you try a new supplement, how much do you rely on an ability to see its effects versus relying on the research when you don't see an effect? That's a very good question.
It really depends on the type of supplement. So I'm assuming he's going to mostly position this on something that has a tangible effect. So supplementing with whey protein, if you're consuming enough protein during the day, you're not going to notice some unique benefit to supplementing with whey protein or casein protein or egg white protein or anything like that. I might enjoy the flavor more than others. That would be the only tangible effect I notice, but you're not going to notice faster recovery or anything like that if your diet's on point in every other aspect. In terms of a pre-workout, I always look at a label first to see, is this, just to kind of get an idea, because my background is in science and research and all that stuff. So I'm always curious when I see something, but I've tried pre-workouts over the years that you look at the profile and it's not that impressive. And so, but we look for certain things for like the pump ingredient, for example, in a pre-workout. So you want to see, 6 to 8 grams of citrulline malate, or anywhere between 3 to 8 or 10 grams of pure L-citrulline, maybe agmatine in there, maybe 1 or 2 other pump ingredients like a glycerol-based supplement or betaine or something like that will help with cellular hydration, muscle fullness, and those water-fueled pumps is what I call them. And so you'll see that, and sometimes you'll see a profile that is stacked, and that it should really work well, and it's got 300 milligrams of caffeine and all this. And there have been certain pre-workouts where it's got a stacked profile, and I'll take it, and I feel like I could go back to sleep after I take it. So I don't know if they put too much theanine in there, which don't put fucking theanine in a pre-workout anyway. Sorry, can I curse on here, Steve? I guess I should ask that
you
first.
can. Yeah.
Okay.
The only place you can't curse is on my Facebook wall.
Okay, good. I won't do that. Don't put theanine in a pre-workout. It makes no sense whatsoever in a performance setting to put it in there for athletic performance. That's a soapbox issue for another day. Sorry. At the same time, there have been pre-workouts where it's got, maybe 2 grams of citrulline plus a couple of other pump agents that are complementary or synergistic activities. And I'm really surprised by the focus and energy that you'll get from it, or the performance benefits. So I would say I slant it a little bit more to the research side, but I always put something through the paces to see how it actually feels. So, because especially with ingredients or supplements that we don't have a lot of data on, some of the libido boosting supplements, or like the natural muscle building supplements, those kind of things that might help recovery, those are a little bit harder to get to because most of those are based on botanical extracts that there's not a whole lot of human studies. There's a lot of mechanistic data. There's a lot of animal studies. So you kind of need to put those through the paces. Though it's kind of a trust but verify approach that I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by this, but I would like to actually try it for myself. So you've got to have something interesting on the label for me to even try it. If it's a massive prop blend of 48 compounds, I'm just going to pass on it every time because you're obviously don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, when it comes to a supplement, I think for anybody out there that is curious about trying something new, and a supplement can be anything from B12 to a creatine variation, like other than creatine monohydrate, go to examine.com. Check out their bottom line. It usually only takes like 5 minutes to educate yourself on the opinion and the general consensus. And, you can take things. I take B12 every day. I take a probiotic every day. I take D3 every day. There's a ritual me and my wife have. Am I relying on the research because I can't see an effect on myself? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But when the research is rock solid, you have to understand the benefit isn't really noticeable. Generally not noticeable.
Yeah.
Folks that start TRT, right? 6 months down the road, they're waking up, life is kind of normal, and then they go off TRT. Their doctors take them off TRT, and they wake up feeling like a zombie.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you're in the storm, you don't really know because it becomes the new normal, if that makes sense.
Well put.
Let's see, Ben on Adventures. Robert, I saw an interview with a creatine researcher talking about how the dosage should be 0.1 gram per kilogram of body weight versus the 5 gram used as a blanket recommendation. What would you say?
This it goes back to the protein recommendations we were going back earlier. It's more exact to give a milligram or gram per kilogram recommendation. But most people aren't going to spend the time to pull out a little microdosing scale, go take their body weight every day, and then dose out exactly as much creatine as they need. The 5 gram dose has been extensively researched. It's safe. It's effective. It covers a wide range of people, a wide range of body weights. Might it be overkill for some of the lighter weight people out of there? Probably so. And higher body mass individuals, people that are, 220 plus, are going to need more creatine, obviously. And so they might benefit more from taking 5 grams twice a day. Because I know you used to do that yourself, Steve.
Right.
So for larger individuals, yeah, it's more accurate to always do the milligram per kilogram of body weight, or that's the way they do pharmaceuticals, is that they base it on your body weight. So yes, that's the most accurate way to do it. But most people don't have the time, patience, or abilities to do that. They're not going to invest the time. So it's much simpler for them to do that 5 gram dose. There's no harm in doing, a little over what that 0.1 gram per kilogram recommendation would be. It's safe up to 20 grams a day is what the loading protocols are used for it.
Yeah, I think some of the issues that I have, and sometimes people think I'm dismissive of science. I'm certainly not dismissive of science. I think I've probably seen more. I've had to check more, studies in my 12 years as an editor than people could ever imagine. I'm not dismissive of science, but what I like to provide people with is a practical application that doesn't require them to do mathematical calculations throughout their days. That's why I give them a generic, generic level of creatine, a generic level of protein intake. Don't overthink this stuff. Focus on, relax. Don't sweat the small stuff.
Agreed.
All right, we got Nigel. Are you planning the Super Living weekend this fall in the Carolinas? For those of you that don't know, last year I ran a retreat, and last year we did it in Ohio. Had a great group of folks show up. I took them on a tour of the best hiking spots in Ohio. We had a freaking blast. We got to see some beautiful things. And at the end of the day, we would gather, we would cook out, we'd drink, we'd eat, we'd shoot the bull, laugh. And it was really a great bonding experience. This year, we're doing it in the Carolinas. So kind of right in the border of North and South Carolina. I'm going to take some people on some amazing hikes. We're going to see like Table Rock, for example. So yes, I have slots available. They've been slow to sell out because of all the bullshittery that is taking place in our world right now. But please go over to my website. If you're interested, this is cheap. It is $150 per person. You get a place to stay at a beautiful lodge. You get all your food paid for. You get all your alcohol paid for, and you get me taking you on a tour of the most beautiful things in the world. So if you're interested, head over to superlivingtoday.com and search the retreat and sign up, please.
And Steve gives really good hugs too. That's another reason to take the trip.
Yeah, especially after a couple of Russian Imperial scouts. Last year, we had somebody join us, and they things got a little crazy the last night, and they tried to open a bottle of beer with their car keys, and they snapped the key off and couldn't get the car out of the lodge's driveway. So it got a little crazy last year. All right, let's keep rolling here. Larry S. Is a true workout should be around an hour. I do approximately 8 exercises, 3 sets per exercise, and it takes me an hour and a half to 2 hours per session. Robert, I'll let you lead this one.
And it depends, because if elite level power lifters are working out for probably 3 to 4 hours at a time, it depends on how much weight you're using, how long it's taking you to recover that. What are your goals for the training? 2 hours seems a bit long for me. I mean, most of my workouts are an hour and 15 minutes at the very end. Most of the time it's, 45 to 60 minutes. It all depends on your pacing and how you're able to recover between sets and what are your goals with your training. 24 sets is a lot in a workout. I mean, I'm assuming that's not all compound exercises or you'd be trashed by the end.
Right. Yeah, I would assume usually when the first thing, and I don't know, Larry, and maybe you can follow up, but when I see that, I'm thinking you're doing a full body workout.
Mm-hmm.
Full body workouts, yes, they have the benefit of frequency, but they also force you to do more warm-up sets for your compound movements over the course of a single session. And then once you get strong, once you develop a reasonable degree of strength, then it's going to take you longer to recover in between sets. So I'm assuming this is a full body workout. If it is, that's kind of what you're going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
My best suggestion is I put most of my clients on an A-B type of split where they do posterior and upper. Posterior is legs and back. Upper is chest, shoulders, and arms. And it's a little bit more user-friendly, and you still get the benefit of frequency training. So, Larry, if you want me to look at your program, you can head over to my Instagram at Ben the Barman, slide into my DM, let me know what you're doing, and I'd be happy to make some general suggestions. All right. This gentleman was on my live on Wednesday, and I pronounced his name Bonk. I hope that's correct. What would you say, Robert? Bonk with that?
Yeah, I would say since it's got the accent over the A, I would assume it's bonk and not bank, like we would say if there was no tick over the A.
Yeah, so maybe you can make sure we're pronouncing that correctly. I took creatine monohydrate daily for a month, but noticed absolutely no difference in my training, energy, strength, so I stopped. Should I stick with it longer, or am I a non-responder? I don't think anybody's a non-responder.
Correct. Yeah, the degree to which you respond would vary. And remember, every study that we see, it's reporting averages. My question would be, what metrics were you using to track whether it was working for you or not? Did you have any changes in your sleep, in your nutrition, in your stress levels? All of that can affect whether you might be able to notice a response to the creatine and its performance.
Robert, you're still doing good on time? We're at 43 minutes in.
Yeah, well, we can keep rolling, Steve. I've got, I don't know how long you want this to run, but I've got at least another hour.
I usually go through every question, so as long as you're good, just
yeah.
All right, we got George Olson. George is 51. How many times should I bench press a week for my age? I'm having slow gains, but gaining rep-wise. George, I made a video about slow progress and looking at it from a mathematical standpoint. I lose track because of the quarantine. It could be a week ago or 2 weeks ago, but basically showing lifters that if you are doing 225 by 8 and you move up to 225 by 10, it adds something like 20 pounds to your 1 rep max. So slow rep progress is okay. It is normal, especially for a 51-year-old. I'm just going to say, how many times you should bench. we really would need to look at your program in totality, because it's like, it's like looking at a painting and only looking at one dot of paint on the painting. We have to see the big picture to make an intelligent analysis. So, George, I encourage you. You can email me, benthebarman@gmail.com, with your program, or hit me up on Instagram as well, and I'll take a look at it and give you my general impressions. All right, Lone Wolf Trucker. Here we go, Robert. Just eat a can of sardines a day for fish oil. What do you think about that, Robert?
I mean, sure, if you enjoy the taste of canned sardines, you could certainly do that, and it might be a more economical way than doing that, because some fish oil supplements, you got to be careful the way they're processed and manufactured. They could be oxidized, which basically reduces the effectiveness and actually makes them worse for you than just taking a regular high quality fish oil. If you like canned sardines, go for it. I like anchovies on my Caesar salads. I don't know if I would eat an entire can of those each day, though, to get my fish oil content. I also like salmon. But it's possible. I mean, with whatever's in your budget, but fish oil is for those people that don't like to eat fish or don't have the access to eat them on a regular basis.
So for those that do like to eat fish, I guess this is a question you don't hear very often. How much fish would you need to eat, or what types of fish would you need to eat to even rival a fish oil supplement?
I think I'm not sure if it's the World Health Organization or the FDA. They say 2 to 3 servings of fatty fish a week, and fatty fish are things like sardines are one of them. Wild Alaskan salmon's a great choice. I'd steer away from the Atlantic salmon because the way they're raised, it alters the fatty acid profile on them. So if you can go for the wild kind, that's good. Mackerel's another one that you can go for. Anchovies is another one.
How about, you know anything on steelhead trout? That's my personal favorite.
I like steelhead trout a lot. I believe that's got a decent amount of fatty omega-3s in it. I haven't looked at its nutrition facts in a while.
I'll have to look into it. For anybody that likes salmon but wants a less fishy, more economical choice,
yeah,
steelhead trout is just absolutely brilliant. We eat it with a combination of black and white rice and just light soy, and it's just absolutely brilliant. So check that out.
Very delicious. Very delicious.
Let's see. Bonk is back with opinions on vegan protein powders. Should we worry about which amino acids they have or lack, or should we simply go with any of them?
Vegan proteins on a one-to-one basis will always be inferior to animal-based proteins in terms of their amino acid composition and profile layout. They had a really interesting study. I covered it on the Supplement Engineer website, breaking down what they did is that they took whey protein and compared it to 3 different vegan protein blends. And so what they did is that usually a vegan protein, a single source vegan protein in and of itself, is usually an incomplete protein. Hey, Fiona. Meaning it's going to be missing one or more of the essential amino acids. So it might be low in lysine, it might be low in leucine. So that's why they usually stack a couple of different vegan proteins together to make a complete protein. And so that's what this study did. They took 3 different plant-based protein blends and they assembled them in such a way that they matched the leucine content, the essential amino acid content, and the protein content bioequivalent to whey protein. And so they had subjects drink these protein shakes, either the whey protein by itself or one of the 3 different protein blends. And even though they matched up the essential amino acid content, the BCAA content, the leucine content, and the overall protein content, whey protein still came out on top, meaning it led to a longer and a more powerful spike in muscle protein synthesis than vegan proteins. Now, in the grand scheme of things, are you going to notice a tremendous difference? Probably not. But for me, vegan proteins don't really taste good. They have a very gritty, chalky-like texture. They're also very expensive compared to whey protein. The quality of the protein is not as good as whey protein. If you're a vegan for ethical reasons and all that, I understand. Go for the vegan protein powders. But if you eat a very diverse diet, and go for the whey protein. It's effective. It's cheaper compared to vegans. Tastes a hell of a lot better. Yeah, and just a superior product in my opinion.
Yeah, my old employer, Tiger Fitness, and Robert used to be a writer for Tiger Fitness as well. Neither of us are affiliated with them, so I just want that to be established. But there's a brand of vegan protein powder over there that Rashid was behind and that sort of thing. That's not bad. They have a decent amount of flavors. I believe Loveliner and crew have put out some vegan outright bars, and I do not know if they have 15 grams of protein a piece, but that might be worth checking out as well if you want to gulp down a sandy protein powder.
Yeah, Nutrex research does a really good one. Sandy and I reviewed the 3 flavors of their plant protein. That's one of the few vegan protein blends that doesn't taste terrible. So you can check out that review on our YouTube channel if you're interested in the flavors they did there. That one's a decent one. I haven't tried the Planta one over at from Ambrosia, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best things you can do as a vegan is just get a little bit creative. You can either just take it like medicine, or you can actually try to make a shake that's a little bit tasty and masks a little bit of the slight unpleasantness.
Right.
All right, we have El Jefe. I'm currently 330 pounds, not a lot of muscle, but not a big blob. I'm looking to build muscle while losing weight. What's the best way to do this? I'm going to go full stoicism on you and say focus on what you can control. What can you control? You can control a consistent calorie deficit, and you can control your effort in the gym. Those are the only 2 things you can control. There is no magic or no path beyond that. What do I mean by nailing everything in the gym? Watch my video from yesterday on what is and isn't hard work, and focus on maximizing those things. That is all you can do. Robert, do you have anything to add?
Slow and steady. Don't look for any quick shortcuts, hacks, or anything like that. Slow and steady wins the race.
And the only thing I'll say is when I lost my 100 pounds, I did lose some muscle, even though I was training pretty hard. But when I came back the next 2 years, I slowly got that muscle mass back.
Right.
There's some noise and banter on the internet that somehow after I lost 100 pounds, I started doing an incredible amount of steroids and whatever. No, I just really got crazy back into powerlifting, and I was adding a lot more volume into my training, a lot more volume than I was used to. When I was a fat power lifter, and it just really dramatically impacted my physique. All right, Cody, hello from North Carolina. Hope things are well with you, Cody. Let's see, what do we got next here? Bonk, I hear all the time that multivitamins are useless. I'm just going to say I hate black and white statements. I'm going to start with that. Are they really? Why would they be? Etc.
Going back, it depends on the form of the mineral. So a lot of the forms that are in the mass market discount vitamins at your store use really cheap forms of the minerals, ones that don't have great bioavailability in the body. So a quick litmus test for a multivitamin is to look at the magnesium and the B12 form. So if they're using cyanocobalamin for B12, that's a really low quality form. It's not that bioavailable. And magnesium oxide, it's got something like 20% bioavailability, which means 80% of it is not getting used by your body. So look for, something like a magnesium citrate, a magnesium bisglycinate, one of those kind of things. And for B12, look for methylcobalamin. There's also some people think that the cyano gets converted to cyanide in the body, which you would need to take a lot of that to even approach some kind of tangible, meaningful benefit of cyanide. We get that cyano component getting converted to cyanide in the body. That's a story for a different day. So what are you looking for from your multivitamin? Is it going to prevent cancer? Is it going to prevent heart disease? No, it is there to supplement a well-rounded diet, to fill in any gaps that may develop because you didn't get to eat all of your fruits and veggies in a day, or because the food you're eating may not be as micronutrient dense due to monocropping practices or something like that. If you actually have a tangible, clinically significant deficiency, something in like vitamin D, magnesium, zinc, then yeah, taking a multivitamin, you will know a tangible benefit or an increase in energy, especially if you're borderline anemic because you don't eat a lot of iron and your red blood cell count is low. Taking something like a B12 or an iron supplement in line with your doctor's recommendations, I'll put that caveat in there, you will notice a difference. But for the average person that is eating a well-rounded diet, just look at multivitamin as a cheap, affordable piece of insurance that you would use.
Yeah, what's the downside? You spend $7,
Exactly.
but I just want to end this with anytime anybody says something is useless or something is perfect in this industry,
Yeah.
you really need to smack them in the balls with a ball peen hammer, because black and white statements really have uh, really aren't something we should be making, because rarely is science black or white. So just remember that. The unknown. Let's see. Can I do sumo deadlifts on pull days and stiff leg deadlifts on leg days? My opinion, yes, you can. What I generally do for my clients is they have a deadlift day, and then on the off deadlift day, whether it's a leg day or a posterior chain day, I have them do stiff leg deadlift. The key thing is that you have to listen to your body, listen to your lower back, and make adjustments if they are needed, to sets, to volume, to reps, etc. If there is any issue with your lower back, you're probably better off doing sumo deadlifts and then immediately after doing stiff leg deadlifts, or maybe even replacing stiff leg deadlifts with something like a Dimmel deadlift that's a little bit lighter. I'm going to skip on, Robert, to the next question because it is a supplement question. Alpha 5 hydroxy.
Yeah, so that's Laxogen, and that was kind of the natty anabolic that took the industry by storm probably 2 years ago, and you'll still find it around these days. The FDA put it on their advisory list not too long ago, which basically is the FDA's way. They don't have a good reason to ban it, but they just put it on there, and then so retailers like Amazon and a couple of other internet retailers just stop carrying products that do that. All it means is that we don't really know what it does, and we don't feel comfortable saying something one way or the other, so we're just going to put it arbitrarily on this list, and we're going to let the market decide not to sell it anymore. It's billed as a natty muscle builder, and a lot of unscrupulous sites will say that it increases protein synthesis somewhere between 200 to 2,000%. That is based on a Russian study that has never been translated to English, and I don't think anybody actually has the actual study. So it's just kind of a made up number. Nobody really has any tangible evidence of it doing that. It does have some utility, I think, as an anti-cortisol agent. So I think going back to what we were talking about with the testosterone and cortisol earlier, it could help give you some adaptogenic benefits, improve your body's ability to respond to and adapt and interact with stress, might help you feel a little bit more relaxed, might help you recover a little bit better. I don't really deem it as a natural anabolic or anything like that. I've had very few interactions with anybody that has said they've noticed superior muscle gains from using Laxogen. It's got terrible bioavailability. You need somewhere around 200 milligrams a day to use it. Most supplements contain 50 to 100 at most. So you would need some kind of enhanced bioavailability, like a bioperin with it or an estrogen. Take around 200 milligrams a day. And even then, you might recover a little bit better and you might experience some anti-stress benefits. But overall, it's not worth my money. I wouldn't put any stock into it.
All right, Robert, another one. We're going to throw you into the world of HMB. I'm thinking about an expensive supplement like HMB that works over a long time frame. Lots of costs up front, but you can't tell its effects until much later. Robert, any opinion on HMB?
Yeah, that was one that was hot a couple years back, and there've been numerous studies that have come out showing that HMB doesn't really provide a whole hell of a lot of benefit, especially in the world of muscle growth. You could make it's a metabolite of leucine, so it's a breakdown product of the branch chain amino acid leucine. It's supposed to have some anti-catabolic properties that are even stronger than leucine's anti-catabolic properties. But when they put it to test in human subjects, the vast majority of research shows that it has a null effect, doesn't really lead to improved body composition, doesn't lead to enhanced gains, recovery, or anything like that. There's a really good article I did breaking down HMB on advancedmolecularlabs.com. You can go in there and search for HMB and look for one of the articles that I've got included in there. I've listed as one of the, I think, 5 worst muscle building supplements or something like that. It's expensive. The one study done by Jacob Wilson and all of that showed that HMB led to steroid-like gains. That he ended up getting fired from the University of South Florida because of that, because the data was fudged and all of those things.
That's not a good day.
Yeah, so don't put any stock in HMB. It's expensive. It doesn't really do a whole hell of a lot. Might it be useful in a way if you're on a fat loss diet and you can't eat enough protein each day? Sure, but at that point, just eat more protein. Don't take HMB. It's a useless supplement in my mind.
All right, guys, I just want to encourage you to stick around. We're gonna go through all these questions. We're gonna try to roll through them. If you have questions, post them up. We'll continue to answer them until Robert runs off screaming. A user with no name, which is actually not true because you do actually have a name. It's called a user with no name. Are there any adverse effects from taking ZMA?
Nothing serious outside of you might have some really wicked lucid dreams, or you might wake up feeling a little groggy if you take it. You don't get a decent night's sleep, but there's nothing. By and large, there's no adverse effects from it.
All right, next question is from a client of mine. If I stopped taking creatine for a while, how long of a break will require me to reload creatine again? For instance, if I stop taking creatine for a week, do I have to load up again?
My initial reaction was, don't worry about loading. You look at creatine supplementation. Unless you're getting ready to compete in a powerlifting meet within a week or two, don't worry about loading. Just take 5 grams a day, ad infinitum, and you'll be fine. Even if you miss a week of creatine, I think it takes around a month for your body to unsaturate for the creatine stores that it got from taking creatine for a while back. So just go back to taking 5 grams a day and you'll be fine.
All right. Off-topic stuff, and we welcome off-topic stuff. Mr. Elite Entertainment. Did I pronounce that right? Elite Teen Entertainment. Elite Teen Entertainment.
Elite Entertainment? Mr. Elite Entertainment?
Do you think Thor will deadlift 501 kilograms tomorrow? Yeah.
Sure. I wasn't aware he was actually going for that record tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's I don't know all the specifics. People keep talking about it, and honestly, I'm not dismissive of it. We're just trying to pay our bills right now, so I'm not following it along. But I think he's basically trying to beat
Eddie Hall's record.
Yeah, and people asked me about it on Wednesday, and I said the main thing I'm concerned with is whatever Thor is doing, it should be the exact same thing that Hall did. Same bar, same plates, same environment, etc. If it's not, it's bullshit in my opinion.
Right. The other thing is that he is a lot taller than Eddie Hall. So I mean, the leverage is on that. It's going to be fucking hard for him to lift that much. I mean, just because he's so long and lanky compared to Eddie Hall, who's kind of short, stout.
All right, what do we got next? Focus Force. Guys, did he say betaine some time ago?
Yeah, I said that when they were looking for other potential supplements that are useful in the vein of whey protein and creatine. I'd put betaine up into that category for people that are looking to improve their performance in the gym and support muscle building. So 2.5 grams a day.
All right, and we're going back to Larry, who had the question where he was doing eight exercises per workout, and it was taking him 2 hours. He did clarify, saying, yes, it is full body. Yep, Larry, that's kind of part and parcel with the full body.
Yeah.
You either got to pair away exercises, move to an A-B type of split, or just take it like a man. That's just kind of part of the game. I mean, I know a lot of the old schoolers, when you research the old schoolers that were big into full body, like Reg Park and Marvin Eder and all that kind of stuff, they were in the gym 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. Dennis, keep that in mind next time somebody's like beats you over the head with full body is the only way. If you have a lot of free time, perhaps. Dennis, should we vary our doses of creatine to create a shock effect? Day 1 scoop, day 2 scoops, day 3 scoops, 5 scoops. What do you have to say, Robert?
If you want to take 5 scoops of creatine in a day, you're just going to have a lot of GI stress. I'll start off with that. There's no need to. You don't need to do muscle confusion with your creatine dosing or anything like that. 5 grams a day every day. There's no down regulation of endogenous creatine production. It's not like you need to cycle on and off of it like you would with more aggressive supplements. We'll those special sports supplements. We'll just take 5 grams a day. There's no need to surprise your body or confuse it or anything.
Yeah, there's only two forms of confusion that I'm a fan of. Number one is confusing your wife about how much money is in your bank account. Excuse me. Keep the income, inconsistent so she can't have any expectations.
Yep.
Number two, confuse your taste buds with a variety of different beers. Try a lot of different beers. It's good for your soul. So those are the two types of confusion that I support. Harut, once the gyms open up, I want to focus more on strength. Been working out for years, but never for strength. Which one of your books do you recommend for strength and mass? Look, there's a course I have on my website, Super Living Today, and it is the Power Muscle block system. It is a well-rounded system. It is a good off-season power building system. There's upper lowers, there's bro splits or whatever. That has been the most successful program of mine. Over at Muscle and Strength, I believe there's something like tens of thousands of comments on it, tons of successful results. It's not the only program out there, but it is well-rounded and it'll help you build a base from head to toe. So I would run that as a starting point. I can also build you a workout if you'd like. You can head over to superlivingtoday.com and I will create a custom workout for you. Giannis, continuing from the previous question in regards to research. Giannis, I'm not sure if we missed anything, but that's all we have. So maybe you can clarify. Sean, how is your finger healing? Any updates on your books? My finger, last night, I completely thrashed it, 9 stitches. So it's all right. It's hard to type right now. And this is my right hand. So this morning when I went to the bathroom, it was hard to wipe, but we may do with that's the update. Updates on your books. I am completely immersed in finishing them. They are 600,000 plus words. It took me forever to put those words together. Right now, I'm polishing Massive Strength. It should be out soon. I'm going through it to make sure there's no grammatical errors and editing errors, but they are going to be rolling out. And when they roll out, they're going to be fast and furious. You can pre-order them on my website, superlivingtoday.com. I believe for $189. This is my life's work. It's absolutely my life's work. I've been wanting to do this for 5 years now. So I can just say, okay, this is everything I know about lifting. It's 600,000 words. It's going to be the biggest Bible of lifting that's ever been put out, to my knowledge. Is it the best? I don't know. It's me, though. So it's coming. So watch for that. El Jefe says, thanks, fellas. You bet. Stay strong and keep up with the great effort and the weight loss. Damien, last question for me. How can I control my accumulating desire to binge before it becomes uncontrollable? Any comments on that, Robert?
This is more in your ballpark of stuff. I mean, I would say, try to not keep those temptation foods in the house. If it's going to be something that, you're going to go ham on, make it as difficult to get as possible to where don't keep it in the house. You have to put your shoes on, go get your car keys, go get in the car, open the garage door, drive to the store, do it there. Then don't bring it back in the house. If you're going to eat it, eat it there, and then don't bring it back in the house. I mean, it could. There's not even really supplements to help with binging. I mean, there's some compounds that help reduce appetite to a certain extent, like caffeine and 5-HTP, but at that point, that's more of it's a mental hurdle.
The first step, like Robert mentioned, don't bring it in the house. No exceptions. If you are unwilling to take that step, you are not serious about your health and weight loss. And that's a hard thing to hear, but it's reality.
Yeah.
And if you are with a partner who you have a binge eating disorder and your partner does not take seriously the need for you to not bring that food in your house, you need to have a come to Jesus conversation with your partner, because this is killing you and it will kill you. Beyond that, you have to understand your eating patterns. When do you eat? What is contributing to your desire to binge? Is it depression? Is it stress? Is it a crappy job? Your wife thinks you're a big, hairy, ugly dude or whatever. Whatever it is, when are your eating habits? Do you eat at night? Okay. Then you have to make a plan. A lot of times for big binge eaters, I'll tell them try to limit your calorie intake during the day to 500 or less. And then at night, when you sit down for your first dinner, only eat a plate of food. Okay, that's it. Walk away for at least an hour. When you come back again for that, and you're still hungry and you want to binge eat, you have to have a strategy. And usually that has to involve food volume. Now, I don't want to hear that healthy food has to taste like shit, because it's bullshit. What do I do at night as a recovering binge eater when it's 9 o'clock at night and I want to eat something? I cut up 4 Roma tomatoes. I add hot sauce, Frank's hot sauce, or Red Hot or whatever, salt. It's 78 calories for 4 Roma tomatoes, or 72 or whatever it is. It leaves me full. You can add sliced onion. You can add jalapenos. You can add all kinds of stuff to give it a little bit of flavor, a little bit of Parmesan cheese, a little bit of Asiago cheese, just a sprinkle. But there are things you have to take steps. You have to take steps to attack this. You have to make a plan. If you are a binge eater and you need help with a plan, I provide coaching. So head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman. Let me know, and I'd be glad to help. All right. I hope that helps some. Michael, is it okay to bench every other day if I keep sets low? Look, Michael, these types of questions, like, is it okay? We have to ask, is it needed? Is it optimal? What is driving the desire to bench every other day? Is it a case of, is more better? I want to do more because I think it's better. More is not always optimal, right? Optimal is optimal. So is it okay physically to bench every other day? It can be. If you have a decent amount of strength, are you overworking movement patterns? Possibly. So we would really have to look at the bigger picture and also what the heck you're trying to accomplish. Robert, any thoughts on that?
No, I would say, make the most of those sets. And do you want to try doing some other bench assistance exercises? I guess what's driving the desire to want to do it every other day? Or just maybe you just really like to bench press. I mean, that's fine, but incorporate some other horizontal and vertical pushing patterns in there just to prevent excessive wear and tear and overuse from always grinding your joints and your muscles and bones all the way in the same plane of motion through the same range of motion.
Yeah, I mean, just one parting thought is, all the experienced lifters I've seen that have developed issues from overworking the bench press with poor form. Make sure your form is good. Make sure you take time and understand form. And don't rule out, if you want a bigger bench press, don't rule out the impact of doing variations, dumbbell bench, alternating dumbbell bench, the Spoto press, all that kind of good stuff.
Right.
Stefano, leg assistance exercises. I have trouble with front squats due to minimal wrist flexibility. A leg press, okay, or is another movement more specific? Robert, any thoughts on that?
There's a ton of leg assistance exercises. If you're having trouble with front squats and you still want to do them, you could try doing something like the zombie hold, where you put your arms straight out and you've got the bar resting across here. You could also put lifting straps on the front of the bar to keep it right there, so you don't have to worry about bending your arms back that way. You could try crossing your arms. That never felt fine with me. I think by and large, try grabbing some straps if you want to keep doing the front squats. Other leg assistance exercises, you could do landmine squats. Stick one end of the barbell in the corner if you don't have a landmine device, but stick it in the corner of your room or the gym. And you can do it that way, and it's a better way to kind of do heavier goblet squats. You can do that. Leg press is great. Bulgarian split squats, that's my favorite leg exercise ever. Any kind of lunge, forward lunge, reverse lunge, step ups, walking lunges. Leg extension is fine to do. You could do hack squats is another great pressing pattern for your legs. I'm assuming he wants mostly quad stuff because he put leg press and squats in there. But I mean, any kind of leg curl is good. You can do, if you don't have access to a gym right now, you can do sliding leg curls on the floor. You can do stability ball leg curls, suspension trainer leg curls. Romanian deadlifts, kettlebell swings, but that's more of an explosive hip hinging pattern. Am I leaving anything out there? Single leg work, more single leg work, single leg deadlifts. I think that's about it. I think I named damn near everything.
Leg press, okay. Just one point on leg press. The average gym bro, when you post a leg press video, will say you're not going low enough. One thing you want to be really aware of when you're doing a leg press, I don't know if you can see my little hand here, is like the lower you bring your knees towards your face, the more likely it is for your butt to lift up off the pad. If you're losing that lower back tightness just by trying to get the leg press deeper and deeper, that's no bueno, okay?
Yeah.
You only want to take it low enough where you can maintain lower back tightness no matter what the bro experts say on the internet.
Right.
Guys, last call for questions. Last call for questions. We have a few comments and questions in the queue. If you want to get in a question, now's the time to do so. If not, we're going to be pulling the parachute soon. Greetings from Malaysia. What's your opinion on ZMA as a daily supplement?
I mean, there's no downsides to taking it every day, especially if you're low in zinc and magnesium, which are two of the common mineral deficiencies on the planet. I guess if you need to take a sleep aid every day, I would look at some more lifestyle things that need addressing first. Look at your sleep hygiene. Are you stressed? Are you staying up all hours of the night staring at your phone or your laptop or checking emails, watching TV too late, playing on the tablet, playing games? Is it bad to take it every day? No, but look at see why you're needing a sleep supplement every day.
Yeah, I mean, sleep hygiene is very important, and sleep is very important. I monitor my clients a lot closer than they think on social media, and that's probably going to scare a few of them right now. But when a client I'll ask a client, sometimes I'll just slide it in when they're least expecting it and asking, are they keeping regular sleep? And they'll say, yeah, I'm going to bed at 10. And then I'll check their Facebook and see they're posting at 11:15 every night. So I know they're on social media. It's a really good thing to like set your phone down an hour before you are ready to go to sleep.
Right.
Empty your brain. Take a freaking break. Get the room dark. Just practice consistency with sleep, just like you would with training and nutrition.
Yep.
Sleep is incredibly important. Jermaine Tan, thank you for your reply. Thank you, and I hope you have a good day. I'll be catching up with my clients shortly after I get off this live video. Dennis, after taking creatine for a while, should you stop taking it? No. There's no need to cycle on and off. That's just bullshit, steroid cycle, nonsense, paranoia, myth.
Yeah, just because you take creatine you do not forfeit your natty status.
All right. Harut said thanks. Thank you, Harut. Damien said thank you.
You're welcome.
And Braden, I just watched a pretty hard setback to myself, and it looked super easy. Does that mean I'm not working hard? I just watched a pretty hard setback to myself, and it looked super easy. Does that mean I'm not working hard enough? I don't understand the question, Braden. I'm sorry.
I get it. Here, Steve. He took a video of himself that he thought he pushed himself really hard during that set. He went back and rewatched it, and in viewing his effort on that set, in retrospect, it looked easy to him. So is he working hard enough based on that?
You're working hard enough when you have a progression approach and when you are working that progression approach. The proof is in the actions. If you go into the gym and you did 135 by 7 on bench press last week, and you go in this week and you have no plan at all, and you're just like, I'm going to do a little bit of this, I'm going to do a little bit of lat pull downs, that's not working hard enough to achieve any reasonable amount of hypertrophy.
Right.
So just trust the basics. Trust the basics. Are you progressing? Yes. Sometimes, on the big lifts, they'll feel super hard, right? A squat set will feel super hard and slow, or a deadlift rep will feel super hard or slow. And then you watch it back and you're like, oh, that was a lot faster than I remember. Big compound movements, this is science. They actually slow time. Not really, but They feel like they do. Focus Force. I have scoliosis, not very severe, but still, is it okay to lift? I have many. I've worked with many individuals. I'm not a doctor, obviously, but I've worked with many individuals that have scoliosis that have been given the okay to lift by their doctor. Obviously, there are degrees of scoliosis, degrees of severity. So, if your doctor gives you the go ahead, what you need to do is just like everybody else. Everybody's got some kind of a unique situation. You need to try and exercise. You need to work on form. You need to see how things feel, and you need to evolve that program based on how your body feels. Russell Henkel. Since gyms are closed, I've been using a lot of resistance bands. Do you feel like an intermediate lifter can build significant muscle using bands? Robert, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and Dr. Mike, who you and I have talked about that, Dr. Mike Israel of Renaissance Periodization, he's kind of one of the forefront guys on hypertrophy these days, was talking about resistance bands. And so I'm going to rip a little bit of what he said. And he said, if can you build some muscle with resistance bands? Yes. Is it better than nothing? Most likely, but the stimulus to fatigue ratio of bands isn't all that great because they are toughest at the point of peak contraction when you're already generating as much tension as possible in the muscle. Right. And we know that muscles can grow when they are stretched under load, but when a band is at the bottom of the movement and your muscle stretched, there's no tension on that muscle from the band. So it's not giving you much added benefit than a body weight exercise would. Plus bands can be anywhere from $50 to $100 per set. I would be more in the vein, if you're trying to look for something to do, stick more with body weight stuff. You can add bands for something like squats, but that gets really awkward to try and do that if you're wrapping it around your neck or putting it under your feet and all of that. So you can probably build some muscle with it. I think free weights and body weight is a superior option of bands.
Yeah, I was asked this question on Wednesday, and it's exactly what Dr. Mike said. Is it can you build some? Maybe, but it's never going to be the same as dumbbells and barbells. How you doing, Robert? You still got about 5 more minutes?
Yeah. I was just getting out. The sun was peeking through the tree up there, so I'm alternating. Okay. I'm altering my position.
Okay. Just again, guys, last call. If you have any more questions, if not, we're going to hop off. Kai, hey guys, thanks for the stream. Thank you for your support. I do home workouts with bands up to 50 reps per set of 3 to 5 sets per session. Lower and upper, are they sufficient to gain muscle? Basically same question. Here's what I'm going to say, Kai, because Robert just addressed this and we just talked about this, but I like body weight stuff. You can add volume of body weight. You can add a rest pause to body weight. You can increase the resistance on body weight by putting on a backpack or a dip belt or something. You can increase the mechanical challenge of a push-up, for example, by making it a pause push-up or then an incline pause push-up or a spider push-up or whatever. So there's different ways to make body weight exercises more difficult and to progress. Any thoughts?
And if you're doing 50 reps of an exercise, try to find a harder exercise variation or embrace some unilateral stuff. So if you can do 50 sets of body weight squats, either play with a pause, do like a 1.5 rep where you lower all the way down, come a little bit all the way back down, all the way up. Go to split squats, go to rear foot elevated or Bulgarian split squats, walking lunges, play with, rest pause like you just mentioned, Steve. Push-ups, you can do Spider-Man push-ups, you can do rotating push-ups, you can do 1.5 rep push-ups, do deficit push-ups where you elevate your hands on either some books or a pair of dumbbells or something, so you're increasing the range of motion and the stretch that goes on in your pecs. Pull-ups, if inverted rows are too easy, elevate your feet to make the leverage point to make it more difficult to do that, or play with pauses, 1.5 reps on pull-ups, chin-ups. Shoulders, you can do pike press, and then you can elevate your feet up the wall to start doing assisted handstand push-ups. There's infinite number of ways to make body weight challenging, and you can build a decent amount of muscle. But if you're over 20 reps per set on an exercise, find a more difficult variation or some way to add some load, throw on a backpack with some heavy books or something.
Now, obviously, every band exercise is different, so it's a one-size-fits-all answer. But when people ask me about band exercises, I would say You can use them as pre-fatigue. You can use them as a post. Like if you just did a block set of push-ups, as many as you could in 2 minutes, could you use band cable crossovers to
burn out and work the adduction function of the chest instead of just the straight push.
Yeah, you could. There is a place for them. You can work them in, but as a prime muscle builder, probably not the greatest option.
Yeah.
Nigel says, awesome live chat. Thank you for your support. Just a reminder, again, you can find Robert at Supplement Engineer. Google Supplement Engineer. Check out Supplement Engineer on Instagram, the Supplement Engineer podcast, all good stuff. Greg, is there a benefit to creatine HCl over mono? I was going to ask this earlier, Robert, because I knew it was coming. When it comes to creatine variations, there's a billion of them out there, almost literally.
Yep.
What are your thoughts?
Overpriced and unnecessary. Creatine hydrochloride may have better water solubility, but creatine monohydrate is highly bioavailable. It dissolves in water. You just need to use a little bit more water than HCl. They lead to the exact same benefit. Creatine HCl is not superior to monohydrate. Monohydrate is the most studied form. It's the most effective form. It's the most widely available form, the most cost-efficient form for everybody. There's no benefit to HCl over monohydrate. It's got a little bit better stability in solution, but creatine monohydrate, you're fine.
Okay, we got a few questions left. I'm just going to let anybody know that if you stick around to the end, I'm gonna surprise you guys with a little insider secret of how me, Robert, and Alan have a daily enclave talking about COVID-19. Let's see. Thanks, guys. 1 a.m. my place. Sleep well. Thank you for tuning in. Giannis, opinions on Vartargo, EAAs, intra-workout.
It depends on how long your workout is, what kind of workout you're doing, and what your pre-workout nutrition is. So if you're going into a workout fasted and you're doing like an hour or 2 hour workout, having some intra-workout carbs like Vartargo or clusterdextrin or maltodextrin, although I'm not a big fan of maltodextrin or dextrose, I would slant more towards something like carb 10 or clusterdextrin for an intra-workout carb, but Vartargo is fine. EAAs depends on, again, your pre-workout nutrition. If you had a meal, you don't need any intra-workout carbs or amino acids. If you're fasted, they might help. Yeah, they would help stave off any kind of excessive muscle breakdown and give you a little bit more oomph to power through your workout. So it's dependent on what your peri-workout nutrition is.
All right, Chad said, thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in, Chad. And here we go with the last question of the day. Focus Force. Is auto-regulated progression okay for all the exercises in a workout? Absolutely. Your progression approach must be something that works for you. Auto-regulated progression is something that is very broad, and it can be implemented in many, many different ways. Intuitively, like RPE type of system, mine where you stop a set where you're a rep or two short of failure. So it's absolutely okay for all exercises. Any thoughts on that, Robert?
Nope, that works for me. Just keep track of, even if you are doing auto-regulated, keep track somewhat of how, what your numbers are, so you can kind of make sure over time that you are progressively overloading. Because there will come a point where something's going to feel hard and you might be feeling great, but I mean, shit, going up for, a heavy set of 10 squats and you need to get 11 or 12, it might feel hard, but you're going to need at some point that reinforcement that says, hey, this shit's hard, but I need to push one more to make sure I'm overloading at some point.
Yeah, when you get to that point where the weight gets heavy and you hit your 8 reps and you got to get 9 today, you can look at all the math, you can look at all the program, you can analyze all the studies. And I talk about this a lot, but when you have built a quality amount of strength and you're trying to move from 8 to 9 reps, it really has to do with you. Are you going to get it done today? Using good form, obviously, because it's a challenge. It's absolutely a challenge. I did 365 by 20 on squats. That was the most I ever got to a 20 rep set of squats.
Yeah.
And when you get to 11, you're like, what the fuck was I thinking? And after that, every rep, just as an example, is really a reflection of how bad you want it. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Focus, is it okay to put creatine directly in my mouth and then drink some water?
Sure.
Okay, 69 Camaro, thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Focus Force. Stan, patellofemoral issues. Should I use squats to a box to get further back instead? I don't really know what you're struggling with. This is a little bit outside of my league. I will tell you that when you do a box squat, it generally changes the way we squat. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you naturally tend to go hips back a little bit more instead of trying to drive your butthole straight down. So you have to be aware of that. I've seen box squatters, including myself, that have picked up knee tendonitis. So, Robert, do you have any idea the condition he might be talking about?
Yeah, he's got pain on the front of his knee when he's squatting. So, and he wants to go to a box because it'll keep a more vertical shin angle, and so there won't be as much shear stress going forward on that knee. Go see a PT and a doctor, or, some kind of osteopath first, because we're not doctors, so always go see that. Other things you can try once you've gotten their clearance, you can look at something like a reverse lunge. You could look like a Bulgarian split squat and try to maintain a little bit more vertical shin angle when you're doing that, so that'll put less forward stress on your knee joint when it's going in like that. But and also look at your exercise form when you're doing the squats. Make sure you're not lifting too heavy a weight. You're not lifting up on your toes. Your low back's not rounding, and all of that stuff. Check with all that, but make sure you see a doctor first.
Yeah, what Robert said is always step number one. Let somebody that knows squat form look at your squat form. You can send me a video on Instagram, and I can tell within seconds if you have any major issues. Let's see. Woodulus said he would post on the forum instead. Thank you. And guys, that's about it. I'm just going to leave you guys that are still here with us with just a tasty exit. Again, before I get to that, you can find Robert Shanetsky, the supplement engineer. Check out his podcast, follow him on Instagram, check out his website. There are few people in the entire world that know anything more about supplements than this guy. So you need to pay attention to everything he says, and if not, you're in deep trouble. All right, so COVID-19, Robert. Not to get into the politics and all this kind of shit, but just a secret little tasty nugget for those still tuning in. Me, you, and Alan Roberts talk about it. We talk about it basically every single day.
We do. It is a never-ending shit show with all the grandstanding from these little local tyrants that think they have the God-given power to squash all kinds of personal freedoms. And then, thankfully, the Texas governor has kind of stepped in and said, "Get back in your fucking corner, you little lackey."
Yeah, so if Alan gets really fired up on any given day, it's likely me or Robert contributed to
the
storm.
Yeah, you're all welcome for Alan's expletive-laced tirades, which are oh so fun to watch. I laugh. I enjoy them very much.
Any parting thoughts, Robert?
Thank you very much for having us, Steve. I'm excited that we finally got this off the ground and going, and I'm looking forward to doing this each week with you. It's always a pleasure. And mentally stimulating exercise, chatting with you and fielding questions on the live.
Well, I appreciate you joining me, Robert. I'd love to have you back. It really opens the door, because supplements are something obviously I processed as an editor, but it's nothing I'm super passionate about. Just because it's good to have you on board to be able to field those types of questions. So I encourage you guys to leave a comment. Let us know what you think. And if you want to have Robert back on, and we will. All right. Thanks, guys, for watching. Have a great weekend. See you, Robert.
Bye, Steve. Thank you.